What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a subscriber story that was sent in to me about this dude's older cousin. It's a pretty good story time. I don't know why old people hate video games so much, but I guess for whatever reason, they're really hell-bent on claiming that they're the reason for everyone's problems. Just another thing that we don't have in common with the boomers, and yeah, before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, otherwise no joke, no scam whatsoever. Your parents will ban you from ever touching video games ever again, and that would suck, so press the like button, and without further ado, let's get into it.
I'm getting quiet now, laying low when you reach zone, piping down, making albums, take the breath.
Anyways, guys, the person that sent in this story is going to be named Manny because that's their name, and Manny is about 16 years old, and he's a pretty big gamer himself. He's not like a G Fuel snorting maniac like some of us are, but he basically plays games every day, at least for a little bit. And one day, he comes home from school and he's just playing video games in his room, hanging out as you usually do, and his mom comes into his room and lets him know that that night his family was going to be coming over to hang out for a bit. And at first he was pretty excited because he gets along with his family, and then his mom told him that his cousin Jackie was going to be coming over too. And as soon as he heard that, his enthusiasm died a little bit, okay? His cousin Jackie was about 25 years old, but she acted like she was about 87. She took things way too seriously, was always whining, and like legitimately acted like she belonged at a retirement home, dude. She hated loud music, she hated people having fun, she hated board games, she hated puppies. You name something cool, hated it. But whatever, you know, you don't really get to pick your family. That's one of the worst things about it. So if his family was coming over, it was obvious she was gonna be there, so he was kind of like, whatever, I guess I'll just deal with it. And because they weren't coming over right that second, he went back to playing video games for a bit because his family wasn't there yet. There was really no reason for him to just go wait downstairs, so he figured he would just finish his game and then go downstairs. And honestly, he didn't think it would be that big of a deal. And he goes back to his game and he ends up getting sucked back in a bit, which happens. Sometimes you're in a game, you know, you're doing something, you just lose track of time a little bit. You think 4 minutes have passed, it's actually 40 minutes. I think everybody's been there at least once, you know. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it happens. Anyways, he ends up in a situation where his family is like at the house. They show up, but he's really into the game and he doesn't really notice that they're there yet. And usually when this happens, you know, your family would just stay downstairs, wait for you to come down, talk to your mom or whatever. But I guess his cousin Jackie just found the idea of someone having fun playing video games not being downstairs to greet her just deplorable, dude. Like, how dare he sit upstairs, not rushing down immediately to clean her shoes. What a punk. So she ends up coming upstairs to grab him and like pull him down. And when she comes up, she just swings open the door. She doesn't knock, she doesn't say hi, and she just walks over and like stands in front of him where he can't see the TV because she's literally in the way. And she like folds her arms, you know, as someone sassy does, and she's like, "What do you think you're doing right now?" And he moves his head a little bit so he can see the TV, and he's like, "All right, I'll be down soon. I'm in the middle of a game. Like, hi." And she rolls her eyes and like says, "Fine, whatever, waste your time in here," and like goes to leave. And she goes to the door and just slams the door extremely loud. No reason to be that angry, like slamming the door. He literally will be down in a minute, but whatever. And then he hears her start like yelling about how he's wasting his time on the Xbox because apparently video games are more important than family. And Manny's annoyed because that's just not really what happened, but all right, whatever. She left him alone. And so he finishes his game and he gets up to go downstairs. Anyways, he opens his door and he starts going downstairs, but he can hear Jackie talking about him, like really, really loudly. She was screaming for whatever reason. She just basically always was. You know how in Jurassic Park, like the dinosaurs just are always on full volume? That's basically how Jackie was all the time. So as he's walking down the stairs, it's not like it was hard for him to hear her talking about how, you know, these video games turn you into a zombie, a brainless one like Manny, he's so dumb. He wasn't the brightest already, the last thing he needs is something to distract him from his studies. She's just like kind of going in on him, bro. And he hears his family kind of being like, all right, I just don't really feel like it's that big of a deal. And instead of calming down at that point, Jackie just starts to yell louder, you know, thinking it makes you more right. Saying that Manny was barely smart enough to function as is, and like it was a miracle that he even had the brain function to play video games. And at that point, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go down and confront her. So he walks down into the living room, and obviously when he walks in and like says hello, everybody goes dead quiet because it's a pretty awkward situation. You know, this lady was just flaming him for being an idiot, and he's like, hey, what's up? And at that point, Manny looks at Jackie and he's like, hey, what were you saying about me? I heard you mention my name. And instead of being embarrassed and being like, oh, nothing, you know, kind of feeling like an idiot, she decides to double down, saying that, like, he's always been a little bit slow and stupid. So she's kind of concerned that his video game habits are, like, going to accentuate that. And, you know, if he just keeps playing video games so much, she doesn't really know if he'll ever be able to have friends or anything, because she knows that video games make him dumber. And that when she had come to check on him, he was so into his game that he just looked like a brainless zombie just sitting there not knowing what was going on. Just like insulting him, dude. And then she also says that video games were probably the reason that he had never been able to get a girlfriend. Like, she was really just hitting every sensitive subject in one go, just trying to be as insulting as possible. And obviously, Manny isn't just gonna take that laying down. Like, if your cousin starts roasting you like that in front of everybody, you're allowed to reply. That's the rules. So he starts asking her, like, why do you think I'm so stupid? Like, we don't talk a lot. Why do you think I'm so slow and stupid? I just don't understand. And she starts saying that, like, basically anybody who enjoys video games that much has to be lowbrow to begin with, because only stupid people can enjoy it. And by default, you know, if that's your hobby, you're just not too bright. And along with that, along with playing video games being the reason he's dumb, she also says that she's heard him use slang language, and anyone that uses slang words also just tends to not be that intelligent. Yeah, bro, that just makes absolutely no sense. You know, like, oh, you like video games? You're instantly 5 IQ points dumber. Oh, you've said the word swag before? Yeah, you actually can't be smart. It's scientifically proven. I'm sure doing nothing but playing Fortnite 24/7, cranking 90s, screaming at your mom, stealing her credit card, yeah, that probably doesn't make you smarter, but, like, if you're going to school doing everything else, I don't know why playing video games for an hour or two a day would just make you an idiot. If it's just a normal hobby, I don't know how that would make things worse. But instead of even arguing with her, because obviously the points don't really make a lot of sense to begin with, Manny just decides to, like, make Jackie look stupid and roast her back. Which, listen, might not be the nicest choice of all time, but whatever, it was pretty funny. So he is like, Jackie, I don't think you have any room to call me stupid, alright? Because if I remember correctly, you had to repeat the senior year 3 times, dude. You failed the 12th grade 3 times. Which, listen, man, I understand sometimes crap happens, you gotta repeat a grade once, I get it. But if you gotta repeat the same grade 3 times, obviously you should not be calling anyone dumb. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, I'm not gonna judge you, but, like, people in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones. If you had to repeat the 12th grade 3 times, you calling somebody else stupid just makes no sense. She had a senior citizen year instead, bro. She probably celebrated her graduation and 21st birthday on the same day. Anyways, obviously the family kind of laughs at that because it's a pretty good comeback to being called dumb to point out that they're actually dumber than you, you know. And Jackie's just kind of standing there not really knowing what to say. And at that point, she turns to Manny's mom, who's there because it's like the family party, and she's like, Manny just took it too far. You got to tell him to calm down. That hurt my feelings. Which, you know, is a little bit weird. Like, you can't start the fight by insulting him and calling him an idiot and then tell on his mom, you know. How are you going to call this guy a moron, say he's an idiot, everything he likes is lowbrow and stupid, and then tattle on him when he comes back at you? Anyways, Manny's mom, thankfully, isn't gonna let this 25-year-old tattle on her kid, and she's like, you know, I'm not gonna tell him to stop. You started it calling him an idiot, so he has every right to respond, which kudos to the mom for having that attitude. Yeah, if somebody starts calling you a moron, saying how stupid you are, I feel like you're entitled to roast them back a little bit. Not to mention, at this point, everybody at the family reunion is enjoying the show. It's not like family reunions are known for getting very lit in the first place. So they get a little bit of free entertainment watching this go down, you know? It's probably not like the most toxic thing they could have done. They probably should have stopped it, but the story time's better because they didn't. Anyways, after tattling fails and like the family doesn't come to her rescue and bail her out, Jackie is just kind of looking like a deer in headlights, and she tries to double down, saying it doesn't matter how many times she had to redo that grade, video games are still making him pathetic. And then, you know, I don't know if that's the best comeback of all time, but what happens next isn't better. She accidentally hits the self-roast button instead. And she keeps telling him that, like, yeah, you know, if you keep playing video games like that, then you're not gonna graduate on time. Like, if you keep playing video games, then you're gonna be stuck in school forever too. And at that point, when she starts pulling that move, Manny sees the kill shot, bro. He sees the perfect time to strike like a cobra. And he says, well, you know, I'm on track to graduate right now, and even if somehow video games make me fail my grade once, I've still got 2 more tries before I'm equal with you. which I've got to give credit for, bro. Manny, that's pretty heat, dog. And at that point, the entire family is laughing. Like, even the grandparents let out a little bit of a chuckle at that one. They were trying to stay neutral, not really show their reaction too much, but that one was just too good. And when the entire family starts laughing, she decides to just, like, go full victim mode. She starts crying, saying that Manny's taking it too far, he's being too mean. And the rest of the family is like, hey, you were just screaming about him being a moron, like stupid forever. He's always been dumb. You can't really be upset when now he's like roasting you back, you know? And suddenly, Jackie like stops crying about it. As soon as she realizes that it's not gonna work, she stops crying, which, you know, doesn't mean it was 100% fake tears, but the odds of it stopping as soon as she's not getting sympathy, if it was real, slim to none. So whatever, she's done crying and she starts looking around the room for like any other backup plan. Alright guys, I'm going to interrupt the video for just 1 second. If you take a look at your screen now, you will see a gift card code. For those of you that don't know, I give away a gift card in every single video I post here on this channel as a way to say thank you to you guys for subscribing and turning on those notifications. It really does help out the channel a lot, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, if you haven't, you might as well, and I will shut up and get back to the video now. Thanks. So she stands up and she's like, I don't have to take this. And then Manny says, yeah, you don't have to. You're more than welcome to leave. Which, honestly, not bad. And she starts walking to the door very slowly the entire time, being like, I'm really gonna leave, guys. I'm serious. Like, I'm gonna leave. Obviously, just kind of begging someone to be like, no, please don't go. But nobody's really begging her to stay. They're kind of okay with it, too, because it's just been too dramatic for, like, the first 5 minutes of being here, right? And she's really taking forever, just hamming it up. I can't believe my family would do this. And, you know, finally the grandma of the family is like, okay, just go, bye. Like, just kind of over the dramatics. And at that point, Jackie turns around, runs back into the room, full sprint, and is like, this entire family's addicted to video games. It's true. Obviously, you guys have to be addicted to it because you're picking video games over me, your own family. And she's literally laying on the floor while she's screaming this, like writhing on the floor like a snake. You know what toddlers do in Walmart when they're just really annoyed and they're like, "Wah!" just screaming on the floor? That's what's going on. Keep in mind, this is a 25-year-old woman having a full-blown super temper tantrum because her cousin was playing too many video games and wasn't waiting downstairs to greet her when she came over for the family party, dude. Like, this is all it takes to launch into a tantrum. Who even cares? Who even cares? And then even then, you're trying to scream at your family that they picked video games over you when that's just not what happened. They just didn't agree that you should be allowed to insult your cousin as much as he wants and him not be able to reply. So the family tries to explain that. They're just like, okay, that's not really true. They just don't think it's fair that you're attacking Manny and not allowing him to reply. And if she's gonna be an adult, she can't be throwing tantrums like that because it just makes her impossible to talk to and deal with. And she's still crying on the floor during all of this, as the family is calmly explaining that, like, you laying on the floor writhing around like a snake isn't gonna make us change our mind. And she's just still doing it. And she finally gets up, kind of realizing that that wasn't gonna work. The tantrum approach simply stopped working probably about 20 years ago. And so she's like, fine, if you guys aren't gonna consider the fact that your addiction is ruining this family, then I'm not gonna sit here and tolerate this, and just rage quit and ends up running out the door, slamming it behind her, you know, just causing a scene. And when she slams it pretty hard to the point where, like, the frame around the door shakes a bit. And I guess the thought in her mind was probably like, oh, the tantrum isn't gonna work. Better flee as far as possible now. She really tried the wild Pokemon approach. Like, oh, the wild Pokemon has fled as soon as it didn't work. Anyways, she ends up leaving and, like, getting in her car, honks the horn a bunch, drives away, trying to get attention again. And pretty much as soon as she leaves, she sends a long text to Manny saying that, like, he ruined her life, he's tearing this family apart with his gaming addiction, and, like, until he figures out a way to not be as addicted to video games, she's not gonna consider him family anymore. And he's kind of like, okay, whatever. He doesn't really care. He doesn't even reply to it. He just kind of reacts to it with a thumbs up. You know how you can react to iMessages? He gives it the thumbs up. And he ends up just going back to the family party. The rest of the family party was pretty fun. Everybody was chilling, having themselves a good time. It had to have gotten better after that, dude. Like, if you have your cousin on the middle of the floor screaming, having a temper tantrum, even if they don't leave, if they just stop, the party's gonna be better. But yeah, the rest of the family was having a better time too, because I'm gonna assume the dramatics and getting really mad at people wasn't just a Manny thing. It would have been somebody else. But then again, they also let Manny's addiction just destroy their family. Life's never gonna be the same now, guys. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. If you made it this far, if you don't mind going ahead and commenting the word video game down below, it helps the channel do better. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. Other than that, if you like the intro song, a link to it can be found down below, along with my link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. And on top of that, if you really want to help out and you drink G Fuel, using code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout will get you a discount. So if you haven't already, head on over to gfuel.com, use code SCRUBBY. And one last thing, if you take a look at your screen right now, you'll see the coolest merch to ever exist in the history of the planet, which can also be yours by taking a trip down to the description. But yeah, on that note, guys, that's everything. Thank you so much for all the support. I appreciate you, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.